Hello everyone, welcome to the Eddie Proudfoot podcast. Today on our 30th episode, we are going to start talking about multiclassing in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So let's get started. First off, multiclassing is something you do when you level up. So rather than taking another level in the current class you have, you go into a new class and start taking levels there. You have to meet the prerequisites. This is on page 163. There's a table that says what your ability score in a certain area needs to be in order to take that new class. It's always 13, and some classes require you to have 13 in multiple stats, but usually it's just one of the ability scores that needs to be 13 or higher. And it makes sense for the class because it's the one that the class is really built around. So it requires for barbarians that you have strength of 13 or higher, and for warlocks that you have a charisma of 13 or higher, because for each of those classes, that's respectively the stat they really work around. Now, once you meet the prerequisites, then you're going to want to know what you get from your new class. So you're going to get your class features, and we'll talk about that at the end because there are some conflicts. But as for your health, your proficiencies, and your proficiency bonus, how does that all play out? Well, here's how it works. For your hit dice, you're going to treat it like you're leveling up, not like you're going into that class for your very first level. We're going to talk about this idea of total level and class level. So your total level is higher than 1, meaning you don't take the level 1 health rules, you take the leveling up health rules because you are leveling up even though it's a new class. So that means taking the average of the hit die or rolling it and adding your constitution modifier, and then just tracking that you have that hit die as well. So if your class has separate values for your hit dice, like if you're a barbarian and a sorcerer, then you're going to have a d12 and a d6, so just track them separately. If it's the same, it doesn't matter because hit dice are going to be hit dice. It's not going to matter what class it's from. Ultimately, when you use them in the game, you're just using them to heal. So that's your hit dice. Your proficiency bonus is very simple. It's just going to track with your total level. So if you go to any of the classes, class summary table, and go to the current total level you're at, it'll tell you what your proficiency bonus should be. I also listed it out on how it scales in the episode when we talked about proficiency bonuses way back when. So now we're moving on to all of the proficiencies and skills you get from your class. So on the following page, page 164, there's a table which tells you exactly what weapon, tool, and armor proficiencies, as well as any skills you might still get from your class. Remember, you're not going to get your starting equipment because you're not starting, you're leveling up. So there's no level up equipment, so you don't get any of the equipment that the class would come with. What you do get, though, is summarized in this table. So as far as weapon, armor, tool proficiencies, and any skills, they're going to be listed out here. Every class is going to give you something in that group of 4, except for sorcerers and wizards. So if you're multi-classing into those classes, just remember you're not going to get anything. Well, you'll still get all the class features, and that's what we're going to talk about now. So every class feature you get at the level you are in that class is something you now have and can write on your character sheet, which is one of the big reasons players love multiclassing, is because it gives them all these cool synergies and combos you wouldn't necessarily have if you stayed in a single class. So there are conflicts, though. The 3 abilities that have conflicts between multiple classes are Channel Divinity, Extra Attack, and Unarmored Defense. Now, if you don't care about what these abilities do, just note that they don't stack. You only get one, and that's it. That's the short version of what I'm about to say. The long version is exactly how all of them works. So Channel Divinity is a cleric and paladin feature only. There's no other classes that get it. If you're a paladin cleric, you're going to have this conflict, and it's only that combo. So if you're not doing that multi-class, you have nothing to worry about. But clerics will get more uses of Channel Divinity as they level up, whereas paladins get only 1 use per short or long rest. Channel Divinity, for those who don't know, is an ability basically that gives you more abilities. So you have a list of Channel Divinity abilities that you can activate by using one of your Channel Divinities, basically calling upon your god to do something for you. Now the thing is, they don't stack, so you don't get one from paladin and one from cleric. You just have one, but as your cleric level gets higher, you'll get more and more. So it'll just be the max of what your cleric could normally get, not the max of what you could get by combining the 2. But you still get to use Channel Divinity effects from both classes. Then we have Extra Attack. Extra Attack is just as it says, you get to attack an extra time. So you take the attack action, instead of attacking once, you attack twice. Lots of classes have ways they can get more attacks by using their bonus action and other sort of combos, but you do not get to add more extra attacks on top of extra attacks. So this is something that classes get at level 5. This is all the martial classes, really, more or less. So that's barbarians, fighters, monks, paladins, and rangers. They all get this at level 5. fighters continue to get it at levels 11 and 20. So the only conflict here is that if you are any of those two classes, both at level 5, so a level 5 monk and a level 5 barbarian, you don't get extra attack twice, you just get it once. Now, if one of your levels was fighter, so your fighter monk, let's say, then you still only get it once, but say you level up the fighter all the way to level 11, which is a lot because now you have 16 total level, you have extra attack twice, but from your fighter, not from your fighter monk combo. So that's the exception there. But again, kind of like with the cleric from before, it's just because that individual class would get more uses of the thing, not because of the combo. So that's the important thing there. Finally, there's unarmored defense. This is a simple one. Basically, it says that if you are a barbarian or a monk, these are the two classes that get it, you have an AC buff when you're not wearing armor. Normally, an unarmored character has 10 plus their dexterity for their AC. A barbarian adds their constitution, and a monk adds their wisdom. So if you multi-class barbarian monk, you have to choose which of these stats you want to add. You do not get to add both. The last conflict is spellcasting, but that is another 5-minute explanation in and of itself. So I'm going to leave that for the next episode next week. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Eddie Proudfoot podcast. If you enjoyed it, please follow us on Instagram, Spotify, or Twitter. And as always, may the gods have mercy on your soul.